Jacob, such a pleasure to speak with you. I really enjoyed you in Cold Copy,
Thank
and
you.
I love how your character is introduced because there's some real awkwardness between Igor and his initial conversations with Mia, and
Yeah,
the viewer, doesn't initially know really how to get a read on the character initially, and it almost ties into one of the themes of the movie, which is that you can view people kind of, you project your own view and you see what you want to see. So how was it kind of leaning into that mystery about Igor at first, where we didn't know his whole story, and we kind of get to see who he is as a person unfold over time rather than initially.
yeah. That's a solid question. Um, yeah, so for this character, it definitely like pushed me out of my comfort zone because he's very bold, right? He's kind of a troublemaker. So it was kind of hard to put myself into that mindset. Um, because yeah, he does kind of flirt with me a little bit. Just kind of more for fun, obviously. Um, So yeah, that was definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone a little bit, to kind of develop it. And yeah, he's very mysterious. Um, that's kind of the reason I was so attracted to playing this role, is because I hadn't played anything like that before. Um, and it really took a few scenes to kind of develop that kind of emotion inside. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that because, this is a character that I haven't really seen you do something like this before. And while you've been acting for, it's like 10 years now in
Yeah.
films, you are still getting to show new sides of yourself. So what was most rewarding about doing this different type of character and doing this drama here?
Yeah, I think the most rewarding thing was just developing a part of my skill. Like it's kind of like a kind of like a tree of being able to play different emotions, right? And this one kind of branched off a certain way, so I was able to kind of play into that, and now it's kind of a new skill I've learned, I guess. Where say there's a character that comes up in the future who kind of shares similar attributes to this one, then I'd be able to kind of tap in back into that a little bit, play with, take things from this role, change it a little bit, and see what I can do. I think that's what I get out of it.
And I was so impressed with Bel Powley in this movie, and you two show some really great scenes. What kind of stood out about her as a scene partner? Because most of your interactions are one-on-one, and you guys really played off each other well.
Yeah, she's a great scene partner. I really enjoyed doing the scenes with her because we had some really fun sequences. Like the whole thing at the sugar factory, that was really cool because surprisingly, we could just go in there and just destroy all the sugar. So that was really fun to film. And yeah, a lot of the emotional scenes, I found it really easy to kind of dive into that with her, because she has very expressive eyes. So when you make eye contact with her in a scene, it really draws out your emotions.
Yeah, her eyes are like that's not like a talent you can teach, but
Mhm.
like the way she's able to express with her eyes is just incredible. So
Yeah,
I
it
was
really is.
glad you brought that up. And Igor is an artist, and you're obviously working within the arts. What did you find most interesting about portraying this character that, has obviously gone through trauma and is expressing himself through the art? And what did you like most about that part of the character?
Yeah, so I thought it was really cool how he kind of has like a shell, on his outside, he's all like all tough and this and that, but on the inside, obviously, he's very soft, and has a lot of heart and puts a lot of care into his art. And so I thought it was really cool. And I think I remember, I'm not really too sure, but I think I remember actually drawing something that they used in his bedroom, put in his bedroom. Um, I'm interested in rewatching it and see if I can spot the drawing um, that I made. I think it was just of some dude's face or something like that. So that was pretty cool to kind of pretend I'm Igor a little bit and draw something and see that in the scene. That helped me get into it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Like speaking of other arts, like drawing, like do you have interest in other arts outside of acting, of course?
It's a good question. Not really. I guess I kind of put all my eggs in one basket that way. But yeah, so I think I've tried drawing a little bit. I think I just took a an art class in high school That was pretty fun. Worked with a lot of like watercolor paints, which is kind of cool, kind of tricky though. But yeah.
And as the film goes on, we see Mia really overstep the line as a journalist, and
Mhm.
she's really mining through your character's grief and using your suffering for her benefit. What did you find most intriguing about that dynamic between the characters? Because they do seem to develop, a real, not romantic feelings, but a connection between the two characters, and then to see it misused for one's benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's just kind of like a story of betrayal. Because Belle's character backstabs my character, and um, then Mia gets backstabbed once more, and so I think that the way it kind of ties in and plays together is pretty strong because I feel like my character is the only character in the story who's you know totally innocent, if that makes sense. Um, I think one of the things I like about the story is that um, no one's perfect in it. There is no necessarily good character. Because even Igor, sure, he um he's pretty innocent, but at the end of the day, he's still up to no good. So yeah.
And I was really impressed by the director Roxane Helberg, that this was her first feature film. How was it working with her? Because I would have never guessed that upon watching the movie.
Yeah, no, she is really great. One thing I loved about her is that she gives like a lot of space for like she gave me a lot of space for like my own creative ideas, but sometimes she could be like very specific, and I like that because it really gives me a direction for the scene where I can kind of get going right away. Um, and what I liked about her too is that she always had a very strong vision for the scenes, and she always knew exactly what she wanted and exactly how she wanted the scene to look, which I thought was awesome.
And one of your upcoming projects that I'm really excited about is The Toxic Avenger, and that
Mm,
had
yeah.
such a good premiere at Fantastic Fest. And these old trauma films are just so fun to watch. What did you like most about just working within that crazy world of The Toxic Avenger for that film?
Yeah, that one was really fun. Um, that was really cool to work on. There was a lot of what I love about that film is that they used a lot of practical effects, which I think was very cool to kind of be on set and see that. Um, that was a really fun movie though. That was one of the ones where you could just go on set and just have a good time with everybody because everyone was in a good mood on that set.
That's great. And Luca, you did the voice of the main character for that Pixar movie, and that's getting a theatrical release in March, which
Yeah.
is super exciting. How cool is it that, people are finally going to get to see that on the big screen because due to the pandemic, it got a streaming release, and now it's finally going to get the theatrical release fans really hoped it would.
That's really exciting for me because I remember um during like the recording process, I was like, oh, I gotta go take like my family to go see this movie. It'd be perfect. And then it got on. It obviously COVID happened, but I'm glad it went on a streamer because it just made it so that everyone could watch it. Anyone could show it to their children, which I think was awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited to kind of for it to have a theatrical release and be able to revisit that one because it's been a while.
Yeah, and yeah, you've done really well in voice acting as well. Does your approach change any when you're just doing a voice role compared to, a physical acting, or is it kind of the same?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty different. For example, when I'm doing live action, I guess I like to keep things very subtle, with my acting. And the thing about animation is the only thing it captures is your voice. So it doesn't matter how you look in the recording booth. So I find that it's kind of easier to kind of go big with it with your expressions and your facial expressions to make sure that all the notes of the emotion are being played off in your voice.
And another voice acting role you have is Damian Wayne in the Harley Quinn
Mhm.
series. And Damian's such an interesting character because he's so beloved in the comics, but we haven't seen him a ton outside that. He's not really in live
Mm.
action movies or anything. And how's it been kind of being some people's, first introduction into Damian Wayne and what a fun character that is?
It's pretty cool. What I love about this one is that I started voicing this character when I don't even remember. I think I might have been like 11 when we recorded when my character recorded from the start. So it's kind of cool to see how they write the character as it moves on. Because at the start he's been like a bratty kid. He's still like now he's like a bratty teenager at this point, which I think is very cool. Because obviously my voice has changed a lot. So it's pretty. I remember the other day I think I was just rewatching it on Netflix a little bit. I thought it was pretty cool to kind of see that. It's a really funny character. I've really enjoyed recording for that one.
And it's interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, you've been at this for like a decade, but you're still so young. Where do you kind of feel like you're at in your career? Are you still very much learning and soaking things in?
Oh yeah,
Do
yeah,
you? Because like
yeah.
it's weird, but you kind of are like a bit of a veteran at this point, as weird as it is to say.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because I definitely am very experienced on set, but I feel like even for the biggest stars in the world, like there's always something to learn. Um, yeah, so I'm just excited to kind of do future projects and like I said, I like playing a bunch of different characters, so I'm excited to see where that takes me and what characters I get to play in and do research behind the character. I'm really excited for my future.
And then my last question for you, later this year will be in 5 years since Doctor Sleep came out, and you
Yeah.
recently worked with Mike Flanagan again for The Life of Chuck. What's so special about Mike's approach? Because you see actors just dying to keep working with him, and the end result's always so spectacular. So, what has been your biggest takeaways of just working with Mike?
So I think the second movie I ever did, and it was my first lead role, was a movie called Before I Wake, and that was with Mike Flanagan. So that's kind of how our relationship started. But he was great with working with me. I believe I was 6 or 7 at that time, and that was awesome. And then yeah, Before I Wake was really cool. Or sorry, Doctor Sleep was really cool. Because it was a very gruesome scene. I
Yes.
had a lot of fun with it. But Mike, he's a fantastic director. He's really, really talented, and he always makes his productions just so enjoyable to be on. Like the atmosphere is just great for working. It really is. He's just such a phenomenal director. He's just able to just control the entire production just so easily.